Hello and welcome to Take Heart Journey. We have a very special week with guest Amy Willers, who will be showing us how to make some incredible Easter cards.
Hi everybody, my name is Amy Willers and I am an amateur artist and I would say a professional crafter, which really doesn't mean anything. It just means that I feel like it's easier to claim the title crafter than it is artist. But I enjoy doing both. And today's project is going to be a little bit of both. I have a little Etsy store, and actually I just opened it, but I've been making these cards a lot longer than I've had the store, and I usually just use them for myself, or I've sold them to a few other people, but I finally decided to open an Etsy store for them because I feel like they're kind of unique and they're fun and I enjoy doing them, and honestly anybody can do them. They're so easy and they're so fun and interesting to do that I'm excited that I can share with you how I do them today. So I just wanted to show you a few samples. Let's see. This is a little happy birthday card that I do. It's sort of a collage card. That's what I call them, my collage cards. These are just like they're already wrapped up for the store, but this is a spring batch that I did. This is sort of another spring batch of cards. You can kind of see what I mean by collage cards. There's lots of different elements to them. Oh, this one just came untied, but here's another sort of springy batch. Here's another one. These are the ones I have on hand right now to show you, but I've done a lot of different kinds of them and they're just really, really fun. So I'm going to show you how to make them today, and I hope that you enjoy making them too. And like I said, I think this is a crafty project, but I think what comes out is a work of art. So I think if you make them too, you are also an artist and a crafter. So let's get to work. Okay, let's get started by looking at what you're gonna need to make these cards. The first thing you need is an actual card. And you could just use a piece of cardstock and fold it in half. This is what I use. I buy these on Amazon and they're pre-scored, so they're easy to fold. So there's the card, but like I said, you could really use a piece of cardstock. They can be any size. I like to buy them in this size so that I can put them easily in an envelope, but really any piece of paper will work. A little bit of a thicker piece is better though, because we are going to be doing some gluing. So this is what I use. I usually do these in batches of 10, just because once I get going, it makes it easier to keep going. But today I'm going to do 5, but you can do however many you would like to do, even if it's just 1. So I have my 5 cards ready to go. And then the next thing that I do is usually pick some washi tape. So washi tape you can get on Amazon. I believe you can even get them at the Dollar Tree. But what I like to do is get them at Michael's because you can get them in sets like this, and they're pre-coordinated, which I love. They have different widths that I love, and they usually have some shiny pieces that I think are nice. And you'll see why I like them pre-laid out like this. But I usually pick the washi tape first because that helps me with the colors. I already know I want to make like Easter cards, so I felt like these look springy and Easter. So I pick out that, and then I'm not going to show you all the washi tape I have because I'm a little embarrassed, but I also have a bunch that I've just gotten on Amazon, and I like these that are just sort of background. They're nonsense really. This one you can't even read, but it looks like script. This one looks like maps. This looks like newspaper. And then this is just like graph paper. So I thought those could be kind of fun to use too as part of the background. So I got those out. Like I said, I just got those on Amazon. And then I also picked this one, and I did that because I noticed, well, I like to use stamps. They look like little old-fashioned stamps, but I noticed there was a bunny. I don't know if you can see that, but a little bunny on there, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect for Easter. So we'll see if I use that or not. I'm not sure yet. I actually don't have an idea of what these cards are gonna look like. So we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so now I have sort of my color scheme and an idea of what I'm gonna do. Now I will get out this, and this is what Farrell has taught me, to keep collage papers and anything that I find interesting, I put in this. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a big envelope full of stuff here. There you go, you can see that. So just things like colors that I like. I put a lot of tissue paper in here. I have some old book pages that I love. Magazines with pretty pictures I'll use occasionally. Like this one right here, I'll get out now. This is from Better Homes and Gardens. But these flowers look to me like they would go really well with this. So I might tear up some of those. So usually what I try to do is get out a tissue paper that I think would go. So here's some pink that I'll use. And then I did get the shiny paper, I think just on Amazon. You can see. And I love it. I love putting some of the shiny paper on there. I'm not sure if I have any that's gonna go. I have this purple that could work. Mostly I'm just getting out anything I think looks fun. I have this one. Get that out because it looks springy. Maybe some blue. I also keep like old music. I've actually painted on this music, but I thought that's perfect for cards. Let's see. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. That's sort of a more muted pink, which I like that too. This is all my stuff from Farrell's Birches. So I've saved that. Could possibly use that in cards sometime. Maybe some black and white cards will be really pretty. Here's some more pretty flowers. Maybe I'll use those. Ooh, that's a fun tissue paper too. Shiny there. And then I've painted on some book pages, which I saved those too. So I actually have these that I thought that I would save. So my first rule in doing these cards, that to start with, there's no cutting. I do have some scissors here, but that's for later. The first rule is ripping only. So what I'm gonna do is I'll start with the first one. And I usually try to have at least three elements on as for the background. So I might rip up some of this. I might rip up some book pages and some tissue paper. So that could be the three elements. Or I might do some of the shiny paper, but not the magazines. That could be the three elements. But I'm just gonna get started. I don't know what it's gonna look like yet, but let's just get started and we'll see what we come up with. Okay, it's literally as easy as what you just saw. I just sort of put out how I think it would look good. This is literally it. It's so simple. I have my three elements. This one came out more purple than I thought, but I love it. So I'm going to start gluing these down. Literally all I use is these school glue sticks. So I start with whichever is the most on the bottom, which in this case is the purple, shiny purple. Another thing I should say is oftentimes I will scrunch it like this to give it a little texture, especially these metallic ones. I love how it looks once it's been scrunched up. So you see how it gives it a little texture. So I'm gonna glue that down. doesn't really matter if it gets on here because pretty much the whole card is going to be covered up. And the purple disappears, the glue. So there's the first part. Sometimes I do keep straight edges like this and line them up with the top or the sides of the card. So I really like how that looks, the purple there. This is one of the magazine pieces. So I just glue that on there. I think this one came next, but I really don't worry about it too much. If I don't get it exactly how I had it, doesn't really matter. Again, this is just the background, and sometimes I'm surprised at how little of the background even shows up when I'm done. So there's that, and then I'll just glue this one down. There, background is ready. It looks, I mean, it already looks kind of pretty. I love how it has a shiny side to it. I love the book pages. But I'm going to go ahead and do the other 4 now and just let it go quickly so you can see how that looks. And then we'll do the finishing touches. And I think that is actually the fun part. But I think this is pretty already. So. Okay, so just finished the 5 cards and the backgrounds, and as I was watching that video, I realized that I was doing it too far this way, so I apologize if you didn't get to see it too well, but I'm going to go through them all just to kind of explain what I did and just a few notes about things, because seriously, this is so easy. There's no rules. That's why I love it, and you don't even have to like them at this point. Usually I'm like, they're fine. And then I'm usually surprised which ones I end up liking the best. So this one is one that I made, that I included this strip. This was another art project that I did, but I love it. I didn't necessarily love the art project that I had done with it. It was supposed to be an ornament, but I loved the paper, so I love using them in my cards now. So this one just got an extra strip of that. But you'll notice with the tissue paper, it gets really wrinkly. You don't have to do it wrinkly, but I actually love when it comes out wrinkly. Sometimes I'll wrinkle it on purpose just to give it that little extra texture. This one, you can see they're all different too. Usually when I do a batch of cards, they don't come out this different, but this time I wanted to use different colors and different things so you could see. So I used different tissue paper on this one and a little book page that I had painted on here, but I love the texture of the tissue paper. This one you saw me make already. This one I used a tissue paper that had a white background, and this is something that Farrell taught me, so maybe you all already know it, but when you use the white background on white paper, it just disappears, so it looks like just this pattern is here, and I love that. I also wanted to say that I painted these with watercolor, and they were just sort of fun for me to paint, but you do not have to paint anything. If you like the idea of book pages of painting, it could be anything as long as it's color. It doesn't have to look like anything. You could also just use plain book pages, which I do a lot too. And if you're at all curious, this book page is out of a Wheel of Time book that I found at a used bookstore. And this book page is out of Great Expectations. Those are the 2 books that I am currently using. And I always just find that interesting. I don't know if anybody else does. But you can see here I used actually a different one, and this one I had stenciled on. So I have these big stencils, you can see it here, of leaves. And this is literally just acrylic paint with a stencil. And actually it's an inverse of a stencil because I had already used it in a different piece of artwork, and it was covered in paint, so I just put it on a book page and you get sort of a cool effect here. So I use that in cards a lot. And you can't even tell what it is here, but I loved it with this greenery here. So, and here you go, you can see more of the texture. So these are ready to go with adding the finishing touches, which I think is what makes the cards. So now is the fun part. I get out my washi tapes again. And yeah, look at how this is gonna match that. Oh, that's perfect. So I get out all these, and I've already decided that this one and this one I'm gonna save for later because I want to do something special with those. So I'm gonna put those aside. I chose these because they're gonna be easy to cut into smaller pieces, whereas these are just more of a pattern. So these are gonna go to the side. And again, I don't really have any idea of what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kind of look at the tapes and see what I like. I might, let's see, I don't really like this white with this book page, but I might throw on a little bit of this to start, just for something else, added visual interest. I'm just gonna put it like this right here. Again, no plan. This is, I think I like doing these because it feels like playtime, and then you come out with something that is so fun to look at. I sent one of these to somebody recently, and she said something like she loved getting it because she felt like she could get lost in the card just by like looking at all the different things on it. And that was the best compliment. I just loved that. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just adding things that we think will be interesting to look at. So again, I usually stick with the ripping here. Sometimes with a wider tape like this, I will rip it again, long ways, to make it kind of interesting to look at. I'm just laying down tapes. I have no plan. I like the look of tapes, different tapes on top of each other. So I'm gonna take this piece and put it here. I like that rough edge though of the tissue paper, so I'm gonna put this underneath that over the other tape. So it's already getting more interesting looking. I'm gonna add this shiny piece in. And I don't want it to cover all of that. So I'm just gonna do half a piece. I'll do some more down here just because I really like this shiny bit. So, and then I'm gonna add in this one, which is, it looks like bees, I guess, bees and flowers. Okay, and that's, I think, gonna be it for adding tapes. Now, I'm going to go back to the ones that I put aside. And this is where I finally get my scissors. And I'm just going to maybe do 3 butterflies. And just start like putting them around where I think they might look interesting. I'm already noticing my temptation is to fill this space because it's sort of this empty space here. But I'm gonna resist that because can't even tell you why. I didn't take design classes or whatever, but somehow I know if I put something there, that's wrong. I have to put it in places. I think it's probably the third concept. Like this feels too centered to me. So it's the breaking it up into thirds, and that's where I'm gonna add the most interest. So you can see I've kind of already done that here. There's a lot of interest here, but I'm not gonna put anything there. Well, I don't wanna say never, but not for now. We don't know. I don't know how it's gonna end up yet. Now I'm gonna take these words. All they say is beautiful love. Sometimes I might separate them to make it beautiful and love, but I kind of like beautiful love together today. So I'm going to put that here. I don't know why, it just feels right. And already it is so beautiful and mostly done. Okay, now I've just realized, now I want to add two things. I'm gonna go and find this bunny. I haven't ever used this washi tape, so I've got to open it up. I've also never done a tutorial like this before, so I have no idea if this is going to be any good, so I apologize. But I have been telling people these cards are so easy to make, so I'm hoping this proves it, that it's just supposed to be fun. It's just fun. Try not to waste the tape, but sometimes I need to get at something that's not in the front. So in this case, some of this is gonna get pulled off. Oh, that was the bunny. I don't want to ruin the bunny. Okay, so here's the bunny. Oh, there's a squirrel too. I could probably use that one in these. I'm not too bothered that I ripped it. It just kind of goes with the overall aesthetic. This little bunny's gonna go here. Okay, so I realized I wanted these cards to be Easter cards. So I'm going to write Happy Easter. I do have little stamps that I use occasionally, but I couldn't find an Easter stamp. So I have Happy. So there's a couple options. First, you could write it on a piece of white tissue paper and glue it down. And then it would just, you know, like Farrell says, the tissue paper would disappear and you'd just see your writing. So that's one option. What I think I'm gonna do is do it on a piece of paper that I think sort of would go, and then rip it out and make it so it sort of sticks out a little bit. We'll see if I like that idea, but let's give it a try and see what I think. Okay, so you can see that I added in this page with Happy Easter on it. I don't know if you noticed, but I practiced writing Easter a few times before I got one that I liked, and it's literally just my cursive. So you don't have to worry if you don't like your handwriting. Just having it look hand-drawn is part of the appeal. So I put in the stamp Happy and I wrote Easter, but you could handwrite it, the whole thing. I also then, like I said, I tore the edges. I did not cut, although you could cut it and it would still look nice. And then I used these to give it sort of a 3D appearance, which I got these on Amazon and I use them all the time. But you could have just glued it down too. So I didn't put it in that center spot. I put it a little bit off, and I think that's good. So this one is mostly done, but at this point, what I would do is go on to the other ones, but I'm gonna tell you now, before I do that, what the next steps are. So washi tape, if you don't know this, it's not, I mean, it is sticky, but it's pretty, like I could still peel up all these tapes on here. So I usually press the cards. I probably would have pressed it even before I put this on. I just put it in a heavy book, and then I'd stack things on top of it and I let them sit overnight so that they're really good and stuck on there. And then I would have put this on. So I'm not gonna add any more of these on my other cards because I feel like they need to be stuck in the book and pressed. Because you can see even some of the edges are coming up. Once I press them and they're in there for I let them sit overnight, I've never noticed any problem with the tapes coming up, but I did think that I should tell you that that is a possibility. The next thing that I do is I mark them. So sometimes just with a black pen, or I have some gel pens, which I will probably use for this, especially considering I've got this like pink shiny parts. I might choose like a pink metallic pen. In fact, I'll get it out so you can see. I have this, again, just off Amazon, but really any gel pen could work. Even a magic marker I think could work, like if you got a pink one or a green one. And actually you don't even have to do this, you could just leave it, because I will say I have mixed thoughts about this. I always have to add this in, because to me it doesn't feel finished until I add my marks. But some people might like it finished just like this, and I think that would be totally fine. So let's see, sometimes I do hearts, sometimes I do stars, sometimes I just do lines. I've done circles or swirls. I think I'm just gonna do dots for this one. And I just put it in any empty spaces. I like dots here because it kind of makes me think of Easter eggs anyway. So maybe I'll make them a little bit oval. In fact, I might even put a couple on here. And I put them anywhere that, I don't put it on the washi tape because it would wipe off, but I put them anywhere that there's card showing or tissue paper. Like I said, you don't even have to do this, and I don't think everybody likes this when I do this, but to me, it's not done yet. And I like adding the marks. So I just add them all around. Again, there's no right way to do this. I like these markers too because they're metallic, so they do add just some extra shine. So you can see I finally filled that space there. That's been bothering me, but yeah, so I would say this is pretty much done now. But you can see how that gives it a little more shine. But anyway, this would be a finished card, a finished Easter card. I think it looks so pretty. It's so busy, but somehow it all works together to make a cohesive whole. And also you'll notice you're really not even seeing that much of the background, but if the background weren't there, it wouldn't look nearly as done. So there you go, there's an Easter card. I'm gonna work on the other cards so you can see they all turn out different, but they'll all have similar elements. Okay, so we have our finished cards. Just a reminder that before you use them or send them out, I would press them for a good 12 hours, maybe a little bit more, so the stickers don't, or the tape doesn't peel up. You can see it's already kind of peeling up there. But I'm telling you, once they're pressed, they will be fine. I just wanted to walk through the finished cards to say a few things that I was thinking about while I was making them. First of all, I have said a few times there are no rules, and then I realized that I gave you rules that I follow. So I wanted to clarify. There are no rules for these cards. You do them however you want. I feel like they were inspired by Farrell and her videos about tearing up and ripping and just feeling the textures and noticing the colors. So there are no rules. Whatever you think looks good. The rules I have for myself as I make them are just sort of what I've learned along the way. And that is, I think I mentioned having 3 different elements as a background. I think I mentioned there's no cutting, only ripping, with a few exceptions, notably the end when I'm cutting up these little pieces. But really, there are no rules. It's whatever you like to do, whatever you think looks good. And I'm so excited. I'd love to see if anybody tries this and makes some, because I'm sure everybody's are going to look different. And they're all going to be beautiful. So I love the thought of other people doing these. So I'm going to just walk you through. You can see this is the first one we made, and I made this kind of stick out. Well, I ended up liking it better, just paste it on. So with the rest of them, you can see that that's what I did. I just pasted them so they're not actually sticking out, and I think I like it better for these. I'm going to be honest, these are not my favorite cards that I've ever done. I still love them, but I think it's because I did try to use so many different elements so that you can see, all the different options that you have. But like I said before, normally I stick to a few different things and I make a whole batch of 10. They all come out different but coordinated, and I think after doing 10 of them, I tend to realize what I like in the batch. And so there's some that stand out to me as like, these are my favorite cards. But these are all pretty different. They still look similar. They have similar aspects, but they're all pretty different, just so you could see all the different things you can do. So you can see with this one, I made hearts, heart dots, heart marks, I guess you can say. So you could see how those look, and I used a silver metallic marker, this one right here, again, just from Amazon. And I like that one, although this one is not my favorite of the batch. This one I love, and you can see with this one, I literally just used a black pen and did lines for marks, and I like it. It's they're not my favorite marks. I might have done something different. If I weren't trying to show you different options, I might have stuck with the silver dots. But I love this card. This might be my favorite of the bunch, but we'll see. Yeah, I really like this one. And you can see I glued down the Happy Easter here. Oh no, this one might be my favorite. But this was just silver dots again. You can see them there, and I love it. And then this is the last one that I just did. And this one's fine. This one's not my favorite, but it's still really fun. And it just shows like the layout really doesn't matter. It's just somehow it came together and made a fun card. So here are the 5 cards that we made. And so now what I would do is what I will do is I will press them so they're nice and flat. I put them each in a little cellophane wrapper, which I do anyway, even if I'm not trying to sell them. Maybe it's just for me, I don't know, but it just makes them look so pretty. And these are all, I believe it's A6 size. So they fit in envelopes. Oh, yeah, last thing. I have a stamp that I use for the back that I custom ordered. But if I were you and you're gonna send out your cards, make sure you sign the back, even if it's just your initials, made by your name with the date, or even just 2024 or whatever it is. Make sure you sign it, because this is your artwork. And they're cards, and maybe the person will save them, maybe they won't, but these are a work of art, I think. So make sure you sign your work. And that's it. So I hope that you will make some cards and have fun with them. And I would love to see what everybody makes. So find me on Instagram or send your picture to Farrell and maybe she will send it to me. And yeah, thank you so much for letting me show you how I do these. Thank you all so much for joining me and making these cards. I just wanted to show you the final project. I have let these sit overnight in the big book you can see right there. It's actually a Bible, but I put it there and I put this plant on top of it so they get really flat. And there is something about pulling them out the next day that I feel like makes them look so much better because they're flattened and they just look crisp and clean, and like the final project is so good. So here are the final ones that we just worked on, and I wanted you to see them too in this light because you can see how the different shiny aspects just give them a fun quality that makes them full of interest. So this is actually the first one that we did. You can kind of see how the Easter eggs shine on there. I love that. There's this one, purpley one. I love that one. And that one. In the sun, the hearts really show up. They're so fun. And then finally, this one, which I think might be my favorite. It just has some shiny dots all over, but it also has those other metallic elements that just make it so interesting to look at. I also stamped my little logo on the back, which I said don't forget to do, sign your name on them. And I wanted to show you, I just buy these A6 size envelopes. They're just plain envelopes and they fit perfectly with the cards. Like that. So I do end up putting these in cellophane and selling them as a set like this. So I hope that you will do this project and enjoy it as much as I do. And like I said, I would love to see anything that you all do. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you to Farrell for having me come on and do this. Bye.